Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Eddie Jennings from EJSLLC.com. In this video, I'm going to answer some questions from you viewers, as well as give a little update to where I am with the Rhce practice session video project. Before I dive in, I want to thank returning subscribers for watching another video, as well as invite everyone, if you haven't subscribed yet, to click the subscribe button and ring the bell when you do. Also, feel free to leave comments, ask questions. I'll answer them as I have both time and ability to do so. So I'll start with the Rhce practice session project, because I've had a couple of viewers ask about, when I'll be done with it. Well, I'm about 1/3 of the way there. And what I'm having to do with these videos, all of them were recorded before I took the Rhce exam, but I'm going back and fixing some of the audio in it, mainly just normalizing it to make the levels to where they're a little bit more audible. And also I'm going through and cutting out some of the silence and such. I know that one of my goals for this was not like editing out errors or problems that I had, because I want to have all that documented to where if you are using them as, I guess, some material for study, even though they aren't designed to be tutorials, nor do I claim all the information is authoritative, but maybe seeing me struggle through a topic and seeing how I handle the problem might help you with your own study. But with that will come some periods of silence where I'm having to think stuff through, and I'm cutting out some of the silence. And unfortunately, that process takes a little bit of time. So slowly but surely, I'm getting through them and getting them uploaded. But if you're curious or you're keeping score, I'm about 1/3 of the way done, and it's about the middle of November 2021. But for the meat and potatoes of this video, I wanted to take a minute to answer a couple of questions that have come in, one via email, via the contact form on EJSLLC.com, and the other via just a comment on one of the YouTube videos. So I'm going to start with the YouTube video comment. The curious one writes, what about hyperthreading? What if it's 16 cores, 32 threads? Is a thread counted as a core? And that's in reference to the video that I did, which I'll link in the description, about core licenses for Windows Server and figuring out how many cores that you need to license. To the best of my knowledge, and I've done a little digging to see if there's different stuff with Server 2022, since it's available, and I haven't seen anything to the contrary, so I'm assuming that this is still true. And the answer to the question is threads are not necessarily counted as cores. Cores are the physical cores themselves. So if you have cores that do hyperthreading, to where you're doing 2 instructions per core rather than 1 instruction per core, then it is still a single core. So when you're counting that for your Windows licensing for Windows Server, it is just the physical cores, regardless of if they have hyperthreading. Now, if I'm wrong about that, and those of you watching, if you eat, breathe, drink Microsoft licensing, and I'm incorrect about that, please put that in the comments, because I want to make sure I give as accurate of information as possible. So the curious one, I hope that answers your question. And the other one that I got was from Richard, and this was in reference to my video that talks about putting only hypervisors on bare metal servers. And one of the things he asked was if I can sum up what bare metal versus, say, Google Cloud Server or other server types are. And I understand, why he's asking this question. And at first glance, especially if you're experienced in IT, that might seem like a pretty simple question. And I guess it could be. But especially if you're new to IT, there's some jargon and nomenclature that is not necessarily taught to you that you just have to learn. And the concept of bare metal, I think, is one of them. So bare metal itself refers to a physical device, such as if you have your desktop computer and you install Windows or Fedora on it, then you are installing on the hardware itself on the bare metal. You're putting in your USB stick, probably. I doubt any of you are using CDs to install operating systems anymore, and you run through the installer. That is the bare metal. Now, for most server environments, what you're going to be doing is on the bare metal, you will be installing a hypervisor. And a hypervisor is basically, it's like operating system / application. It runs what's going on the bare metal like an operating system, but it's also the application that supports and runs virtual machines for you. and that goes into, quote, the other server type. So you have your physical servers, which we'll refer to as bare metal, and then your virtual servers, your VMs. Now, your virtual machines, you can either be hosting that on your own server, or you can use some services that offer virtual private servers. And some services like that include a service called Vulture, which I use, a service called DigitalOcean, which I've also played with. There's also a service called Linode. And you can do virtual private servers within Azure and Google Cloud and AWS as well. And the concept here is you never get to touch the bare metal. You are touching a virtual machine that is running on one of these providers' physical servers. Oftentimes you will have root access to the virtual machine itself, but again, not to the bare metal. So that's really kind of your two basic types. You have the physical servers, which is what I'm referring to and what kind of all of us in the industry refer to as the bare metal, and then you have your virtual servers. Now I'm going to mention containers for a moment, not because they are full-on servers, but there may be some confusion for you if you're new to IT and the idea of VMs versus containers. I am not a master of containers. Let me say that up front. I have a basic knowledge about them, but it's on my kind of to-do list of stuff to touch in my home lab to become more familiar with them. But a container is similar to a VM, but it is different in the fact that what a container is going to have is whatever your running application is, as well as that application's dependencies that it needs to be able to run, such as whatever libraries and such that it has. You're not, and again, if I'm wrong about this, please put it in the comments. With the containers, you're not virtualizing the hardware itself. For example, you can have a virtual machine that is running containers. So don't let the idea of a container kind of confuse you and make you think that that's an actual server. It is not. Your servers are going to be either that bare metal physical hardware or virtual machines that are running on a hypervisor. So to both the curious one and Richard, I hope this answered your question. For anyone else, feel free to ask questions. Either contact me through my website, or you can reach me on, I do have a Twitter handle. I'm pretty sure it's Eddie_Jennings. I'm not super active on Twitter. You can reach me on minds.com at Eddie Jennings. And you can also just leave comments and such on the videos. As I have time, I'll try to answer either within the comment thread itself, or if it's something that I think is worth having a discussion about, then I'll make a video about it. Because there are some things that just a couple of lines in the comments not going to do it justice, but a video might make more sense. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch, and I will see you the next time.